For a lot of SMP infection servers, having spawners is a big goal you work towards. Having a lot of spawners usually means you're rich on the server, because whatever that spawner may spawn, you basically have unlimited of that resource. Though from a server owner's perspective, having a lot of spawners on your server does come with quite some technical issues. Lots of spawners means lots of entities, which on its turn takes a lot of server resources, especially if those entities are spread all across your world. So to manage that, you might have to limit mob spawning, but that takes away a lot of the experience from players, because now all of a sudden their spawners become a lot less effective. So what can you do? Well, there are many different solutions to this problem, but one of the best ones I found is what Donut SMP decided to do with their spawners, which is allowing you to stack spawners and adding a GUI to them so they can still work at their full capacity, but instead of your world being flooded with entities, it is all done inside of a handy menu. And this plugin, SmartSpawners, inspired by the Donut SMP, does exactly that. This is basically the Donut SMP spawner system, but then inside of a publicly available plugin. Like you can see, it allows you to stack spawners together, making them more effective, and all the loot will then be sent to a menu where you can easily gather it from. It is really cool. Link to this page can be found in the description down below. Simply make sure to download it for your appropriate version, drag it into the plugins folder of your Minecraft server, and then give your server a quick little restart. After that, when rejoining the server, before you do anything, it is really important to subscribe to the channel. We recently surpassed 100k, we're currently on a road to 200k, which means doubling our current subscriber count. My analytics show me that 80% of my daily viewers are not actually subscribed to the channel though. So if you could just double check if you're actually subscribed to the channel, maybe you think you are, but you're not in reality, if you could just double check, I would appreciate it so extremely much. Now after the subscribe button is hit, let's check out the plugin. So now that we're in game, what we can do is type /SS, which stands for SmartSpawners, and we get a few commands available. A give command, which will give us a smart spawner. If we don't want a smart spawner, we can also give ourselves a vanilla spawner, so just a regular Minecraft spawner, not affected by the smart spawner mechanics. Then there are also some hologram settings, a list setting, and of course we can reload the plugin. But okay, how does the plugin actually work? Let me show you. I'm gonna do ss give, after that my own username, and we're gonna give ourselves a pig spawner just to test this out. I'm gonna give myself 1. Smart Spawner says you received 1 pig spawner. And here it is. This is what it looks like in my inventory, and you can also see what it drops. So this spawner will drop between 1 and 3 raw pork chop, 100% of the time. So you know how for certain mobs, some drops are more rare than others? Well then, this percentage will be different. For example, when we get ourselves a zombie spawner, you can see there's a 100% chance of us getting rotten flesh, but there's only a 0.8% chance every single time to get either a carrot, an iron ingot, or a potato. You can also see the amount of experience you gain from this spawner. Because of course, when it comes to spawners, experience matters too. But okay, what we can do is we can simply place down the pig spawner over here. Just like that. Spawner activated. Collect loot and XP through the spawner GUI. So if we now right-click the spawner, just like that, it will open the pig spawner menu. And over here we have a few settings at our disposal. So we got the storage, which shows the current slots that are available and how full the storage is. And you might wonder, what is storage? Well, this is where all of the loot goes. So currently this spawner has accumulated a total of 6 raw pork chop. The longer we wait, the more pork chop will appear here. Then in the center we have some stats. So you can see the current stack, which is 1, because this is only a singular pig spawner. Something which you can do, and which I will show in a bit, is stacking spawners together, which will make them more productive. Then beneath that we got the range. And the range means how close do you need to be to the spawner for it to actively work. It is set to 16 blocks, which means that if I go 16 blocks away from the spawner, you can see that it will deactivate. Just like that. Spawner no longer active. Though when I get close again, it will immediately activate. This is of course how regular spawners in Minecraft work as well, and this plugin simulates that really well. Then we got the amount of mobs this spawner will spawn, or well, it won't actually spawn them, but it will kind of be spawned. And then of course they will immediately be killed, and the loot will go to the storage. And beneath that you can see the delay and the next spawn. So how much time do you need to wait between loot? Currently, that's 25 seconds. And then here on the right, we got XP. So currently there's 33 experience in here. If we click, we collect the XP. Just to make sure we're on the same level, XP doesn't mean XP levels. You can see that currently I have no XP whatsoever. When I click and collect this XP, I will be in level 3 now, not level 35. I just received 35 XP, which brings my total to 3 levels. Now inside of the spawner menu, when you click on the button in the middle, it will open the stacker GUI. And over here, you can add more spawners to this spawner to basically stack them and make them more productive. So currently, I only have a single pig spawner in my inventory, which means I can click on this button here to add one additional spawner to this stack. You can also remove spawners from the stack if you want. Let's say you want to move them or you want to give them to other players. You can totally do that. I'm simply gonna add one though by clicking on this button. There we go. And now you can see the stats have changed. So the delay time is still the same, but it's now a stack of 2, which means instead of up to 4 mobs spawning, now that is up to 8. So it has basically doubled. The storage has also doubled. So we currently have 90 slots available instead of 45, which means we can simply house more loot here before we need to actually collect it. And same thing goes for experience as well. Of course, we gain it faster, but also we can have 2k now before we need to collect it. Now let's give myself 20 pig spawners. There we go. And we're gonna add all of them just like that. You can see how much more productive it becomes straight away. Still, same delay, but a lot more mobs. And because of that, also a lot more loot. Now when we type /ss list, we can see how many spawners are currently active in our worlds. So over here, you would be able to see the overworld, the nether, and the end. Currently, I only have the overworld here, but when we open it up, you can see that currently there are 22 active pig spawners in this world. And by clicking, we can easily teleport to them. So here we go. This is really handy as an admin or moderator if you want to keep track of who has what on the server. Especially if you suspect them of cheating and you feel like they are gaining spawners at a way too rapid pace. Now when you go to the SmartSpawner config file, which is located in this path, you're able to customize a bunch of settings. For example, you're able to change the GUI layout from default to Donut SMP, which I assume will make this plugin feel even more like a Donut SMP copy. Which of course, this plugin is inspired by the Donut SMP, but you can make it completely feel like the Donut SMP too if that is something which you want to do. Now there are also a bunch of default properties we can change, like the minimum amount of mobs a single spawner will spawn. We can also change the max amount, the range, the delay, all things you can customize. So if you want to make spawners better or worse on your server, you can totally do that. Same thing goes for the storage and the XP of course. And there are also breaking mechanics which you can change. So something which I didn't previously show is if you break your spawners, they will simply drop. There we go. We now have one pig spawner here. When I click again, another pig spawner will drop just like that, and we can just keep doing this until eventually the spawner is no more. There we go. We now have all 22 of them here. You of course don't have to do it like this. We can also just grab 10 again, and then grab 2 more. So now it is only a single spawner, and when we now break it, then bam, we got them all here. But if you don't like that, if you don't want them to be breakable, you can completely disable that. You can even change the required tools to break a spawner. So I was just in game mode creative, which is why I could just do it with my hand. But if you're not in creative, you need any of these tools with Silk Touch, because currently Silk Touch is required, otherwise you will not receive it. If you're still worried about lag, you can also set a spawner limit, so that only a certain amount of spawners are allowed per chunk. As this plugin already makes spawners so much more efficient and so much less resource intensive than, you know, default Minecraft, I would not recommend doing this straight away. But if you're experiencing some kind of issue with spawners in a chunk, then you can totally do this. And inside of the config, we also have some economy settings. So if you have Vault installed and some other type of economy plugin, SmartSpawners will allow you to sell items straight from from the storage menu. So you don't have to loot them yourself, you can just straight up sell them to the server so that you receive money instead. So this is what that would look like. I just installed Essentials X and Vault, and when I now right click on the spawner, you can see when we hover the center here, it will say right click to open the stacker GUI and click with any other button to sell items and collect XP. Also, when you now go to the storage menu, there will now be a new button in the bottom right which says sell all items, which we can simply click on, and there we go. Sold 504 items for $1,000. Now, if you don't want those features, you can decide to simply not install any economy plugin. Though if you do want an economy on your server, you just don't want this plugin to be hooked up to that economy, you can simply disable the economy features here. Now, you can also decide if hoppers should be allowed, yes or no. It is false by default, which means that currently all of the loot will go to the storage menu and it will stay there until you loot it. If you enable hoppers, then the storage limit doesn't matter that much anymore, because you can make it so that all the loot will simply go to another chest. Now, there's also a hologram which you can enable if you want. Also, it is false by default, and I think that having this disabled would actually be a nicer experience. Though if you want every single spawner in the world to also have a hologram floating above it, then be my guest. You can do that. And other than that, we have some data management settings, but that's about it. It's an unbelievably easy to use plugin. And things like the GUI layout, the language, and even the price of items and mob drops is something which you can completely customize. The layouts of these configs is super simple, so you can just scroll through them, find whatever you're looking for, and then change the settings accordingly. Same thing goes for the item price. Completely customizable, really easy to use. It is such a cool Minecraft plugin and so incredibly easy to use. And that is gonna be it for today. Do make sure to subscribe to the channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members. And then I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, see you later, bye bye.